Hey everyone, it's Joy here, and I am super excited to share a card and coordinating tag with you using some fun new products. So they are the Petal Pusher Stencil. So there's a layering stencil, there's two. And then there is coordinating dies for that. And then this is the coordinating die. And then there is the Petal Pusher Petites. So I'm going to use one of these for my tag today. I'm using Drop a Note, stamp set, and coordinating die, and the tag Stacklets 4. For my inks, I decided to go really bright and summery. I'm going to use Gumdrop, Oreo, Dragon Fruit, and Lemon Meringue. I'm also using gold drip drops and bitty blender brushes. Let's start with our layering stencil number 1, which is our leaves and the center to our flower. And I did speed this up, but I did take my time when I was ink blending. So I'm getting the ink on my blender brush. I'm starting where I want it to be the darkest, which is at the base of the petals, maybe a little bit up the sides. And I'm pushing a little bit heavier as well with my blender brush. And when I want to go lighter, I lift up the pressure and then I don't add any more ink to that area. I just kind of let what's left on my brush go. But I'm also very light-handed about it because you can always add more. I mean, we all know that saying, you can't take away, but you can add more. So that's really what I'm doing here. And you can see I have some darker areas and some lighter areas, which give the ink blending some interest. You can do that in stencils and it makes it, gives it more dimension rather than it just being flat in one color. And I'm doing the same thing for that center of the flower, and I used Dragon Fruit for that. Let's bring in our second stencil, and this has all the flower petals. And I'm going to do a two-tone color with this. I will use Lemon Meringue at the base of the petals, and then I will bring back in the Dragon Fruit for the tips. So I'm going to start heavy in the center, so more ink, more pressure, and then as I work my way out just a little bit, I'm going to go a little bit lighter. And I do want the pink and yellow to meet, but I don't want them to mix and make orange. So more ink and heavier on the very tips of those petals. And then once I start working my way in, I will go lighter towards the yellow. And I'm just going to let the pink touch the yellow, but not mix, because again, I don't want an orange color. But look at how fun and pretty. This just feels like tropical colors to me, more summery, bright, kind of fun colors that way. And I just think this turned out so pretty. I love the color combination on this. How gorgeous is that? All right, so for the Petal Pusher Petites, I die cut one of those, and I'm going to ink blend with the same colors, but I'm going to reverse it. So at the base of the petals, I'm using the pink, which is the Dragon Fruit, and on the tips of the petals, I am using Lemon Meringue along with Lemon Meringue for the center of the flower. Same ink blending. This does not have a coordinating stencil for it, so we're just going to die cut the pieces out and ink blend it. So I'm just, again, letting that yellow meet the pink, not really letting it blend. And then we will use Gumdrop for the leaves and the stem of the flower. A couple of my pieces popped out of my cardstock, so I'm going to ink blend those, but the other ones stayed in, so I'm just going to ink blend them in the cardstock, which is really nice. So I'm going to go darker at the base, lighter towards the tip. Let me do this one last little leaf here, and then I will work on this other piece. This is kind of the whole piece together, so I'm going to give that a nice good ink blend. It is so pretty. Okay, and then from the tag Stacklets 4, I die cut a larger piece, a larger tag, and then a tag slightly smaller. So this back piece is the larger tag, and I'm just ink blending the outside edges. And I'm going to do the same thing for my card panel for my card itself. So I'm just using, again, the Dragon Fruit and the Lemon Meringue. Now for my die cut, I use the large Petal Pusher die, and I die cut out basically like a template from a piece of white cardstock. I taped that over my stenciled image, and then I nestled my die cut back into place, and I'm going to run that through the die cut machine. Now it's not going to die cut it, but it's going to leave grooves so I know where to place my die again. Now I feel like I kind of did this the hard way. What you could do is die cut first, tape, make sure all your pieces are kind of taped on the back of your cardstock, and then do the stenciling. I feel like that actually would have been a bit easier, but now I'm lining that die cut back into those little grooves that I made and running that back through my die cut machine. I laid out all the pieces on an A2 piece of sugar cube cardstock, and I'm just going to adhere those down with liquid glue. So I just looked at the image, laid everything out, and I'm going to trim this panel down, the excess white cardstock off for when we put the whole card design together. But again, just laid it out, and now I'm gluing those pieces down. And I'm going to do, and I did the same thing with the tag, and I'm going to put these pieces in place. Super cute. Love that you can get a matching card and tag out of this. I'm going to adhere the tag to the larger tag, and now you can see that beautiful inked outside edge. And like I mentioned, I did the same thing for the card panel. I'm going to stamp 1 sentiment and use a coordinating die, and this is from the Drop a Note stamp set. And the other sentiment that I'm going to stamp, that's going to be on the back of the tag. That one says sending you a big hug, and the other sentiment says wishing you the happiest of birthdays. And I really liked that sentiment. I think that's a fun sentiment. I'm using Oreo ink to do that. And then for the other sentiment, I'm going to use the coordinating die to die cut this out, and this is the one that's going to go on our card. So I'm going to put that in place. And then I'm going to add some foam adhesive behind that, some foam sticky strips, and place that over my card. And then let's embellish this with the gold drip drops. They are so pretty. I'm just going to add a few of those around, and let's add a few on our tag here. And then when that's done, we can take a look at these up close, and that card will be adhered to a white A2 size card base. And I love these gold drip drops. They come in different sizes. I think there's 3 sizes, maybe 4, but for sure there's 3. And I love that with any kind of sequence or anything. I just think that's really pretty to have different sizes. All right, let's take a look at these up close. Look at that gorgeous stencil coordinating die. So pretty, and I love this little one. I love the petals on this one. I think it's so, so pretty. Thank you guys so very much for stopping by and watching. I hope that you enjoyed this project, and you can find all of these products at the Tailored Expressions web store at tailoredexpressions.com.